Welcome! Let's talk about how data is sent between devices of a computer system. Most data is sent between peripheral devices and computers over wires using serial or parallel data transfer. Inside a computer, data is also transferred in one of two modes, serial or parallel. Input-output ports on a computer are similarly classified as serial or parallel ports. This picture shows an example of a serial transfer on the left. In a serial transfer, data is sent through a port one bit at a time in successive order. With parallel transfer, as shown on the right, data is transferred in groups of 8, 16, 32, or 64 bits per pulse. Parallel is typically faster than serial data transfer, but requires more wires. A common way to connect devices to a computer system is through a serial port. For example, telephone modems are used to communicate with other computers over telephone lines. Because of the limited capacity in a telephone line, data is transferred through modems in a serial fashion. Modems and many other serial devices connect to the computer through a 9-pin connector called a DB9. Older computers sometimes have 25-pin connectors for serial connections. Adapters are available for converting between 9 and 25-pin serial ports. Another example of a serial data transfer device is the keyboard and a mouse. Some older mice use a regular serial port. Most PCs today use a special connector for the mouse and keyboard called the PS2 port. The PS2 ports are simple 6-pin, low-speed serial connections dedicated to the keyboard and mouse. Although these ports may look identical at first glance, they are not interchangeable, so you'll need to be extremely careful to attach the keyboard and mouse to their respective PS2 ports. USB ports are another serial communication method. Some mice and keyboards and many other devices use USB ports. USB stands for Ultra Serial Bus. It is much simpler and faster than standard serial ports. It uses 4 wire connections, 2 for data and 2 for power and ground. FireWire is very similar to USB. It is another type of serial connection, and is also called IEEE 1394. FireWire is similar to the USB port but uses a different connector and with either 4 or 6 wires. FireWire is commonly used for connecting digital video cameras to computers. It is also used for some external hard drives. It can be faster than USB because it uses 2 pairs of wires for data transfer. Another way to connect peripherals is through parallel ports. In parallel transfer, more than one bit is sent side by side. Here is a typical parallel port on the back of a computer along with the parallel port cable and connector. The parallel port commonly found in PCs transfers data 8 bits at a time. An example is a port for the transmission of data to a printer. Most printers have data transferred to them through parallel ports. In general, data is transferred at a much higher rate through a parallel port than a serial port. Another example of high-speed parallel data transfer is the data bus on the inside of the computer. Data is transferred in parallel on the computer bus system of the motherboard between devices connected to it, such as the hard drive, RAM, and the CPU. The original IBM PC had an 8-bit bus that could transfer data 8 bits or 1 byte at a time. A later version of the IBM PC called the AT used a 286 processor and could handle 16 bits at a time. Today's PCs have buses that can transfer 32 or even 64 bits at a time. Thanks for watching.